sorry about my hair. I washed it today and that always pisses me off, so... Anyway, let's get to why we're here. And why we're here is because the music box from hell won by a landslide on the Twitter poll. And, you know, by a landslide I mean, I think it was 80% again. That's very consistent. Here we are. So, let's begin. I forgot my lights. I may put them on later. So, The Music Box from Hell by Emil Petaja or Petaja. I'm sorry, I'm not sure how to pronounce that name. Rolph Mace hunched under the awning of the antique shop, glowering at the March drizzle as he waited for his bus. If it hadn't started to rain, he could have walked and saved 7 pennies. Or if his Aunt Audrey would hurry up and die, he wouldn't have to make trips downtown for medicine. After she died, he could shut up both the east and west wings of the old Mace mansion and live in the 2 little rooms at the back. Wouldn't cost 1/4 the money it costs now, with the east wing open and her burning gas all the time. And a part-time maid. Not and burning a part-time maid all the time, but, you know, something about, you know, getting a part-time maid. Wait, what? After she died, he could shut up both the east and west wings in the back. Wouldn't cost 1/4 the money it costs now, with the east wing open and her burning... Oh, she must have a part-time maid at the moment. Rolph's pinched-up face grimaced at the thought of all the money going to waste. I love gold diggers. When it rightfully belonged to him as her only heir. "Could I sell you anything?" a voice at his elbow asked suddenly. Rolph turned to see a cherub-faced little man, wearing a frock coat and white side whiskers, smiling at him jovially. He was apparently the owner of the antique shop. Rolph gave a quick glance at the motley assortment of items in the pleasantly lighted window and shuddered with actual horror at the thought of parting with hard cash for those things. His Aunt Audrey loved antiques. She loved music too, and was forever ordering chamber music records on the sly. With her own money, of course, but Rolph had for more than 10 years considered it his and resented every mouthful she ate. He turned his lean, stooped shoulders away from this shop owner in high distaste, not deigning to even answer him. "I have just about everything you might want inside," the odd little man went on affably. "Anything." "I don't want anything," snapped Rolph. "Nothing?" said the little old man. "You must be very happy." Rolph's pinched bird-like features puckered. Yes, there was something he wanted. He wanted Aunt Audrey to die. "You see that ring on the white velvet just under the candelabra?" the little man with the side whiskers went on, insinuatingly, paying no heed to Rolph's obvious snub. "That once belonged to the Borgias. Lucretia, I believe. Quite adept in the art of poisoning, they tell me." "Of course, the little old man continued. "Of course, me, the little old man continued, I'd choose some other method of, eliminating besides poison. It can always be traced." "Can it?" Rolph's lip curled contemptuously. He knew that. How well he knew that. Hadn't he tried to figure out a way by which... The little man chuckled, as at a secret joke. Rolph began to squirm. "What way would you use?" he asked, licking his thin lips. "Music." "Music? Why, yes, but... Sorry, I have to go in now." The weird little man moved into the dusky doorway. "In case you're ever in the market for some really remarkable antiques..." "Wait!" Rolph cried. He didn't quite know why, but the little man was gone. The suburban bus came and went, but Rolph just stood there under the awning, racked by indecision. Finally, with a little growl, he stepped into the antique shop doorway where the little man had disappeared and wormed his way past littered tables to a little dark back room. I love this story already. And if you've read The Carnival Keepers, you'll know why. Alright. There was the little man, all smiles. Decided there was something you wanted after all, eh? Rolph nodded uncertainly. I want, he must be subtle about this, I want a present for my aunt. The little man chuckled. Ah, an aunt who loves antiques. She also is very fond of music, Rolph put in hastily. Music, Rolph put in hastily. Ah, antiques, music, good! The little man rubbed his pudgy hands together happily. This aunt of yours is perhaps wealthy? Rolph scowled. Mustn't ask personal questions, must we? The little man bustled over to a dark corner and pulled a string connected to a bare light bulb. Happy orange light sprayed the crowded little room. It so happens that I have just the thing you want, unless I am sadly mistaken. He tugged a small ornamented box off a shelf and set it down on the table in front of them, whipping a silk handkerchief. Here we go. Whipping a silk handkerchief out of his pocket, he began to polish it vigorously. What is it? Rolph asked. Rolph. Have I been calling him Rolph? Rolph asked, eyeing the black oblong box dubiously. Ka-choo! The little man sneezed from the dusk. Pardon me, this, he pointed at it dramatically, is called the music box from hell. Rolph sniffed. He didn't relish idle melodramatics. He didn't relish idle melodramatics. He wanted to buy, or better still, cajole the old man's music box. No. The old man's music murder secret and get back to Mace Mansion. All right, he said impatiently when the little old man paused. Why is it called the music box from hell? The little man pursed his lips gravely. That, my son, is a long story. Well, I don't want to hear it. No, the little man's face fell. No, the little man's face fell. Well, suffice to say that this music box was manufactured by the wizard Sin Borkilish of Nuremberg in the early 16th century. It constitutes the result of a particularly fiendish pact he made with an evil power. Get to the point, old man, hissed Rolph. Get to the point, old man, hissed Rolph. What can it do? The little man's eyes, bright as shoe buttons, seemed to look right into Ralph's miserly mind. Recorded on metal in this little box, he said, is a demonic and cunning song to which no man can listen without, yes, without being snatched off the face of the earth into the nethermost hell. Rolf's piggish eyes snapped fire. And do you expect me to believe all that medieval nonsense? The little man shrugged. Would you like a sample? Rolph blinked. But the little man laughed gleefully. No, hearing just a few notes or strains can't hurt you. It's the whole song. It forms a hideous pattern which at last seizes hold of its victim's mind and soul. And finally, as the last plangent chords, plangent, P-L-A-N-G-E-N-T, I've never heard that word, interesting, chords, are sounded by an evil rearrangement of his vibratory pattern, the listener is swept irresistibly into the black limbo where the demon who conceived this vile song holds sway. Rolph gasped at the strange little box with new respect. That's really... what a prick. It's gonna sit... a hateful little prick. Shall we have a sample? The little man invited again. No, I'll take your word for it, Rolph replied hastily. But don't you see any levers or dials on it? How do you set it running? By simply calling out the demon's name. Which is... The little man said it, whereupon the box came to audible life. A windy sigh escaped it, which abruptly grew to the proportions of a banshee's tormented wail. At times the song had a hauntingly sweet character, but under this melodic line was sinister, mocking intimations of carnal sin and evilness. The non-human voice seemed to beckon, to call Rolph into timeless depths. First it was merely unnerving, then unbearable. "Shut it off!" he shrieked. The little man shouted another outlandish word. The song vanished. Rolph's pinched face illuminated with avarice. He almost drooled. He must get hold of that box. It would dispose of Aunt Audrey beautifully. And no one would ever know. Corpus delicti. You understand. Then she wouldn't be around anymore to waste money on medicine and part-time maids and order phonograph records on the sly. The things people used to do on the sly. But he mustn't act eager. He would outwit this simple fool, get the music box for nothing, if humanly possible. He ran his finger gingerly along its weirdly cold surface. "How much are you asking for this piece of junk?" he asked casually. The little old man beamed on him. "Oh, a mere nothing. $10,000. $10,000! That's your rock-bottom price?" "I'm afraid so," the little man sighed. "I wouldn't sell it at all, only I need the money so desperately. You see, my shop is mortgaged to the hilt." Rolph's eyes narrowed craftily. After all, once Audrey was out of the way, he could return the music box and tell this stupid little fool he'd changed his mind. Thus he would get the use of it without having paid a cent. "I'll take it, only I'll have to send you a check tomorrow morning. Will that be satisfactory?" The little old man nodded rather wistfully. "Yes, that will be fine." Right, one more bit, and then we're going to stop because I don't want to record too much. Little bits at a time. You understand. And this is a good story. Okay, one more bit. Audrey Mace was a sweet-faced old lady who found it more expedient to let her half-sister's pernicious offspring manage the affairs of her lovely old house on Winsham Hill. All she asked of life now was to sit by her little parlour gas fire and listen to Haydn or Mozart on her old phonograph. Those are the ones she gets on the sly. Even that pleasure had been dimmed in later years, not only by Rolph's persistent growlings about the few record albums she allowed herself to purchase, but by the fact that she was slowly going deaf and had to resort to the use of a hearing aid. She lived an abundant life, and her memories were with her always, like a warm shawl to cover her chilling bones. As the dying rays of the sun sifted through the dripping elm leaves outside her window, she sat motionless in her favourite wing-back chair, staring sadly at the blue gas flame. Her blue-veined fingers toyed with the hearing aid box in her lap. Rolph's sweet bat-like No, there is nothing sweet about Rolph. Rolph swept bat-like into the cozy little old-fashioned room and immediately switched off the little lamp by her elbow and turned down the gas. "You don't need a light yet," he shouted in annoyance, "and it's not cold out." Aunt Audrey appeared not to notice. She smiled wanly. Rolph always acted as if they were paupers. It was true, there wasn't as much money as there had been, but there was plenty, more than enough for anything they might need. "Rolph, I was wondering if—" "Listen, Aunt Audrey," Rolph burst out, waving his slip of paper. "You've been buying records again. $21 in the last 3 months. My God, do you think I'm made of money?" Aunt Audrey looked bewildered, but said nothing. She sat quite still while he went through his scathing denunciations of all musicians and all music. His indignation at finding that bill in the mailbox on his way home had made him forget for a moment all about the music box. "Rolph," she ventured timidly, when his tirade had subsided, "I hate to ask you to do it, but could you run downtown again and buy—" Buy, he shrieked. "You do nothing but sit here all day thinking up things to buy." His aunt's eyes left his furious face and went warily back to the frugal gas fire. "All right, dear, it doesn't really matter." Jesus. So I think we're going to leave it at that. Just because it's, I don't know what time it is. It's past midnight. And the more past midnight I go drinking lately, the more I don't seem to enjoy it unless I've had like 4 or 5 glasses, in which case I will 1000% not enjoy it the next day. Who would? I don't know. So yeah, this story started out very well. I'm very much enjoying it. We can probably all see where it's going, but can we really? Who knows? It's Weird Tales, and that's what we love about Weird Tales, don't we? What do you think, Daddy? Yeah? I'm sure Daddy enjoyed it too. Okay, so let's finish for tonight. We'll resume probably tomorrow night. I don't know. I got shit to do in the morning. Well, no, I don't. Yeah, actually, yeah, I do. Shit to do that I don't want to do, but I'll do it anyway. Because that's life, isn't it? Doing shit you don't want to do. You know, I will say one thing. My eyes have been twitching for a month straight. And it's getting to the point where it's just fucking all day. And it seems to happen when I talk about things I don't want to do, when something stresses me out, when I'm talking to people I don't want to talk to, which is just going out in public, really. I read up online. Maybe I need to see an eye doctor. Maybe I need glasses. Maybe I just need to chill the fuck out. Who knows? Weird Tales. Alright, so that was a good start to the music box from hell. Gold digging nephews and such. Okay, I hope you've enjoyed this reading. I've enjoyed reading to you. I hope you're having a lovely time wherever you are. I've been working on a pattern for some really awesome leg warmers. I don't know whether you'll care about that. My crochet people will care about that. Thanks for joining me.